I'm John Skinner, and this supports my book, Fishing the Bucktail. I'm fishing a bucktail and teaser combination, and the teaser on the top is a tsunami glass minnow. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different for this video. Instead of editing something together, I'm going to do one drift, a little bit over 18 minutes, and there'll be no editing. I'll just let it play out, and you can see everything that happens as it happens. Both the bucktail and the teaser are tipped with 4-inch Berkley Gulp Alive swimming mullets, in this case white. Normally I prefer a sunny day for fluke fishing, otherwise known as flounder in many parts of the country. What I like even more is a deep low pressure system, and that's what I have here. This is very miserable weather. It's pouring rain, and throughout the video you'll hear the raindrops hitting the camera. What you see here is light tackle bucktailing. This is rapid vertical jigging, so I'm just using a rapid jigging action to catch the attention of the fluke, and as you'll see, this is very effective. I'm fishing in 15 to 20 feet of water in eastern Long Island Sound. It took me 30 seconds of bottom time to get that hit, and that's the longest I'll have to wait throughout the rest of this drift to get a hit. It only took that long because I pulled up a little bit ahead of the spot to start the drift, because I knew I needed just a little bit of time to get a fresh gulp on and get my line down. Some other numbers that go along with this drift: I will attempt to set the hook 22 times in I think it's about 18 minutes and 15 seconds was the length of the drift. I will successfully have set the hook 21 times out of that, and I will land 20 fish. So it's a pretty good percentage, and a lot of that comes from using the right hooks, and I'm going to have a lot to say about the rigs and all of that as we go along. These fish are almost all between 16 and 20 inches. There's probably one bigger, just a couple smaller. There's a distortion here with the wide-angle lens on the GoPro, so it reduces the size, and the camera's on my head and it makes it look like I'm 8 feet tall, but I'm definitely not. Something I find very noteworthy on this drift is, even though I'm boating 20 fish, I'm using the same 2 gulps throughout the entire drift, and in fact one of the gulps was on for a previous drift, so that's just amazing and extremely cost effective, and shows the durability of these baits, that they can handle that many hits. And in terms of the breakdown between the teaser and the bucktail, if you follow it all the way through, out of 20 fish, 15 of them are going to take that tsunami glass minnow, and that's a very, very effective flounder or fluke teaser. And it has what I would think of as just a slightly shorter shanked hook than I would expect, but it turns out to be just perfect, and I think that has a lot to do with how the gulp was able to hold up so well on that lure. And on this particular drift, the same gulp took 15 fish, and would take more after that as well. Now, one of the reasons that I was able to get 15 fish on that same one gulp grub that was on the teaser is that I keep putting it back on, and I don't care whether that gulp is right side up, upside down, sideways. It really doesn't make any difference. The only thing I'm looking to do is get that hook back into the gulp where there's at least a little bit of bite, and it stays on firm. And you'll see as we go through the video a few times right before I drop it down, I'll just adjust that gulp a little bit. And to me, as long as the tail's not torn off, I'm happy. As long as it's going to stay on the hook, I'm happy, and the fish are clearly happy because they're all over it. So let's talk about the tackle and the rigging. The rod is a 6-foot Quantum. The reel is a Quantum Accurus with a flipping switch, and if you watch, You'll see my thumb constantly on a thumb bar on the reel, and a nice thing about a flipping switch reel is that when you depress that thumb bar, it allows line to go out. When you release the thumb, then it engages the reel, so I don't have to reach down and hit a lever or anything to work the clutch of the reel, and it's just provides very nice one-handed control of the line. The main line is 15-pound test spider wire stealth in green. The terminal end is 20-pound test fluorocarbon, and at the end of it is a surgeon's loop, which makes it very easy to attach that bucktail, which in this case is a 1-ounce bucktail. I tend to use bucktails in the 3/4 to 1.5 ounce range for the waters that I fish. And 1 foot above that is a small dropper loop where the teaser lure is attached. And to see this rigging completely, I have a video on my channel that shows the rigging all the way through. I connect the braid to the fluorocarbon leader with a small barrel swivel. Palomar knots all around. Alright, I try to avoid using the net. Definitely had to use it that time. If I try to swing that fish over, there's an excellent chance the line is going to break, and I think a couple more times on this drift there's times where I probably should have used the net and swung it over and was okay, but you know, if you try to swing over a larger fluke and it's thrashing around and you're doing with relatively light line, you know, there's always a chance something could pop. So that was a nice sized fish I just released, but I've got enough fish for dinner up in the cooler, and just doing this particular drift for fun. Casting for flounder or fluke from shore with this rig is also very effective, and on my channel I have a nice video demonstrating that. This was actually a very poor drift in terms of the drift speed. The wind, or the very slight breeze, is on my back and it's holding the boat up, and the drift speed is only 0.4 to 0.5 miles an hour, so that's very slow, because normally I'd like to be in the 1 to 1.2 mile an hour range, but the little breeze is holding up the drift, and this is where this kind of fishing, this rapid jigging, really still works out nicely, because you know, you're keeping everything moving. If I was fishing bait, if I was trying to drag bait on the bottom right now with this very, very slow drift, it would almost just be laying there, and like any place else, there's crabs around, the crabs would be all over it. But with the jig bouncing around so fast, the crabs tend not to be so much of a problem. And the fish, you know, they see all that nice action on the jig, so it really doesn't matter as much that you're moving so slowly. Another nice thing about the jigging is that the fish are almost always hooked lightly. You know, when I used to fish baits and drag them along the bottom, the traditional way of fluke fishing or flounder fishing, many times the fluke just you know, grab onto that bait, they swallow the hook, and certainly, you know, anybody who does that kind of fishing knows that there's a fair number of gut hooked fish, and that's just not great. But with this kind of jigging, you feel the hit immediately, and you can just set the hook nearly immediately, and that ends up with most of the fish, the vast majority of the fish, are hooked lightly. As far as when to set the hook, I'm just bouncing that jig, and when I feel a little bit of weight, and that's usually what it turns out in terms of how the hit will feel. You know, you're bouncing that jig and you feel a little bit of extra weight on that tip, and when I feel that and that weight is there, that's when I'll set the hook hard. Anyone who fishes this area, or even in the Northeast in general, familiar with sea robins that are they're an interference fish that you know, we're trying not to catch, and you know, yet you're seeing 20 fish in a row here, they're all fluke, and there's no sea robins. If I wanted to catch sea robins, all I would need to do right now is move the boat in about 200 yards, and the sea robins would be all over me. So A lot of times, these fish are bunched up, and if you're getting all sea robins, make a move, and it can make a big difference in the percentage that you catch. Sometimes you can't get away from them; they're just unavoidable. But I happen to know this particular day, I had been inside a little bit, and it was loaded with them. And then what I did was I made a move. I was looking for a ledge, found it, the fish were there, and you could see the results. And just one little safety note, you might notice that in some of the camera angles you can see that I'm wearing one of those low profile inflatable PFDs there. You can see it there. I bought that for kayak fishing, and it's just so comfortable you don't know you're wearing it. And I never used to wear a PFD out on the water, and since I got this, I wear it all the time because there's no reason not to wear it. I even wear it on the jetties for surf fishing, and it's just a nice thing to have because you can see there's no boats anywhere near me, and that's often the case. And something could happen, and certainly it's a little bit of peace of mind to have that on. So. Okay, I'm done narrating. There's about 7 minutes of fishing left. I hope you enjoy that. And as I mentioned on my channel, I have videos for doing this technique from shore as well as from a kayak, and a complete video on tying this rig. And if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to my channel.